Hello, boys and girls. This is Art at Home with Mrs. Koshland. In this lesson, you will be learning how to draw a realistic apple. We will be layering colors and using contour blending. For this project, you will need a piece of white paper, and this is just a piece of construction paper folded in half. You will need a piece of scratch paper for practice, and you will also need some crayons, a pencil, an eraser. The crayons specifically, you will need a yellow. If you have this dark yellow color, that would be great also. A green, a purple, an orange, a white, and a red. Now there are all kinds of apples, but let's take a look at this apple here. And you can see a lot of color variations. We have these yellow-green areas, some yellowish areas, reds, light reds. And if you look closely, they are almost like vertical patches or streaks of color. They go up and down as opposed to across. Here are some photos of other apples that have those vertical stripy patches of color. The other thing that you will notice is that it has these bright white shiny areas, and those are the shine marks. They can be in different places on your apple depending on where your light source is. The shape of the apple, you can see how this one is wider at the top and then it gets thinner down at the bottom. This one is just more roundish. You can see the different colors in that. So you can figure out what shape you would like to make your apple. The other thing I would like you to notice too is that the stem comes from this hole or this dent in the top of the apple, and we will also be drawing that. So let's get started. You can have your paper go this way or this way, it doesn't matter. I am going to go this way so I have a little bit more room for my stem. And you can make something that is like a circle. Does not have to be perfect, as we saw. There's all shapes of apples. I think I'll do mine about like that. So go ahead and make your apple shape. I'm leaving room for my stem. And if you don't like your shape, you can always erase. And I am doing mine rather dark so you can see it, but it's probably best if you do not do yours very dark. And then up here, remember when we were talking about how we're going to make this indent right here. And if you look from the side, it's just a little slightly curved line, like a smile line near the top. And then you can have your stem coming out here, or you can curve it the other way. And that's all we need right now. When we are coloring, we are going to try to color with up and down motions instead of going across or sideways. That will give us those vertical stripy color variations that we saw on the apple. And this technique is called contour blending or shading. You might be saying, contour, what does that mean? Well, contour just means lines that follow the shape of an object. And in this case, we're talking about an apple. And here we have two examples. This one is just a really nice, smooth, round apple. And this one shows the vertical lines, the lines that go up and down and follow the rounded shape of the apple. It's not like this. These are just lines that go straight up and down. That is different than contour lines, which curve with the shape of the apple. In fact, if you look at all three of these, you can really see that this is the one that looks more three-dimensional. This one right here shows cross contour lines. It not only shows the vertical lines, but it also shows the lines going sideways. And you can see that this is not a smooth round apple. This is a very irregular apple. And so these lines are following the shape, where it goes in, where it goes out. So these are called contour lines. When we are coloring, our goal is to color in the same direction as these curved contour lines so that it really makes the apple look round. So what I'd like you to do is to take out a scratch piece of paper and just practice shading like this. So draw another apple on a scratch piece of paper. Draw your smile line at the top, which represents the front part of that hole where the stem comes from. So start at the end of the smile line and draw a curved line over to the side of the apple. It's almost like a rainbow. And the same thing over here, just a slight curve. Okay, and now what you'll do is in between there, you'll just go ahead and make some curving lines that go over to the side, far over here, and then as you come into the middle, that middle one right here is just going to be straight down. Now you can see I'm not trying to go down to the bottom. I'm just doing this really quickly, and that's what we want. We just want some quick motions. You can even lift your pencil at the end. And once I hit that halfway mark, I am going to switch directions and curve my lines the other way. And then the back part of this, if this were the dent coming around here, so let's say that's the circle part, that whole hole that the stem comes out of, you're just going to do the same thing where you come around the back edge and show those directional lines. They curve to the right on the right side, they curve to the left on the left side. And then you'll come down to the bottom and we're going to do the same thing. Now their lines will be coming from this area here and you'll just curve them up. It's almost like they're going to connect here, but we're doing this really fast. Keep coming around, something like that. Now, if you have any lines that go across like that, that's not going in the correct direction, is it? So that really looks odd. So just practice that. Practice it again. Put another one over here. Just do it really quickly. So you start on the side of your smile and just make a curve that goes to the side and a curve that goes to the other side. And then you can just keep going. Look at how fast I'm doing. Actually, the faster you do this, the better it will be. There we go. That's it. Then you can put the back side on of that oval there, and then you can continue it around. As soon as you get to the middle, it goes straight back, and then it starts curving the other way. And then down at the bottom, again, you're going to be going from this area here. So curving almost like you're going to connect with the lines that you made in the top area. In fact, you can overlap them, and that looks about right. And if you want to, you can go back in and put more in, because we are going to be really filling up our apple with these directional lines. And again, the faster you do this, the better it will probably look, because your lines will be different lengths instead of all being even. Another way to practice this would be just making that oval, and then you can pull out those lines all around the oval. But remember, these are all curvy lines, and then they'll curve the other way as you go this way, and then up in the back, something like that. So if you just practice that, that is great. Okay, enough practice. Let's get started with our crayons. If you have this dark yellow color, I think it's called dandelion, but yours might say something different. This is a great color to use, but you can also use just regular yellow. The first thing that we are going to do is to make those shine marks. We need to put those in first so that we can make sure that they are going to show up at the very end. And I've got a little trick to show you for that. So up in this area,
we can make some oval-y shapes.
And I always like to make them bigger than they really need to be. So I would say maybe 2 up in that area. Try to make them different sizes, but you can see how big those are. And then I would like you to take your white. Now you need to make sure that your white is clean. So on your scrap piece of paper, you can go back and forth. Do you see how that made that mark? That means that my white is not clean. And I'm just going around making sure that that tip is clean. Once it is clean, I want you to press really hard, and I want you to color in
those shine marks.
Press really hard. Once you've done it, go back and do it again. We are pressing really hard. Okay. Now go back to your yellow, and again, if you don't have this
dark yellow color, you can use your regular yellow. So we are coloring in this whole top section using a medium pressure, going around the highlights.
Coming around those shine marks.
Remembering to color it with that up and down motion following the shape of the apple.
And then in this area, do you see how uneven this is? This is really good. You don't want to have this coming straight across here.
In fact, I am going to make it even more uneven by pulling down the yellow in a few areas. And you can see I'm already making those vertical streaks or patches.
Now you can take out your red, and we're going to do the opposite where we are going to come up this way. So we'll start down at the bottom here, shade up into your yellow. I'm pressing medium. I'm overlapping into my yellow.
Using up and down motions, coloring that area in, following the shape of the apple.
And then this is going straight up, and then I am going to start to
switch directions and curve the other way.
So do you see how I'm shading the direction of the apple?
So let's add another layer of red, following the shape over here.
When you get to the middle, it's straight up and down, but then as I come over to the side here, I am
switching and curving the other way to follow the shape on this side. And notice how uneven this is.
It is not a straight line across here. Look at how high up I went on this one. I kind of like that.
You can leave space in between some of your streaks. Some can go up really high, others not so high.
I like to also go up to the bottom of my shine marks because that makes the shine marks show up a little bit more.
I just keep layering in more of the red until I get the look that I want. You want to keep some areas just plain yellow.
Now we're going to take our purple,
because at the bottom it's usually shadowy and darker. And purple is a great color to blend with the red to make a darker red color.
So again, with that up and down motion, I am just going to add a little bit of this purple, and I'm doing this medium to light, not pressing real hard, not yet.
The purple is a fairly dark color, so it's better to press lightly at first. You can always add more later if you need it.
You go up a little bit more on that side. And again, I'm trying to make this uneven. Okay, now we still need to have more layers in here because this still looks a little bit splotchy.
So far, we've just been coloring in our apple, but now we're actually going to be putting those contour lines in at the top of the apple. Do you remember those lines we were practicing that were coming out from that oval at the top of the apple? Well, we're going to do that right now. So here is our smile line, and these will be the contour lines or directional lines that follow the curve at the top of the apple.
So I'm going to just do a couple red directional lines.
I'm doing this very quickly. The faster you do this, probably the better it will look. I am not coloring in the area. I'm actually making a series of curved lines, leaving a little space in between them. You can go right over the shine marks. That's fine. But do you see how that is already making it look more round? So just like you did in the practice, you are making those really quick contour lines that follow the shape of the apple. And then in the back side, we're going to do the same thing. There we go. And just even with this, it already looks so much more realistic. So we're done with our contour lines and now we're back to coloring. We need to blend our colors a little bit, so we're going to put some more layers on there. And I'd like you to take out your orange and we'll go ahead and put a layer of orange, and I am pressing fairly hard with this, and I'm going right over that shine mark. The color I'm using is a yellow orange, but if you just have the regular orange, that is fine too. So you can see a difference between the two. And I'm really concentrating in this middle section, going up, kind of blending the colors. I'm not trying to cover all of my yellow, but you can see that yellow shining through, which is good. And now I'm going to switch over to my regular yellow, and I am going to put another layer at the top here, and I'm going right over my shine marks. I'm just going to brighten up that top area. Yep, that looks good. You might be done. You might say, oh, I really like this. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to add a little bit more red. And I'm just doing this kind of medium pressure. I think I'll bring up a little bit more red in this area. And again, I am going in that up and down and curvy way, trying not to make this even. Look at this. Look at that line right there that goes up, and then I have this line over here. Actually, I think I'm going to darken up this part there. I like that a lot. Again, I'm just going in that direction from that smile, just like we practiced. And then maybe a little bit more here. If you want to add more purple, you can. If you want to add more yellow, that is fine too. Okay. Now, you remember those shine marks? So now, if you have a fingernail, you could use your fingernail, or you could use the side of a credit card. And all you're going to do is scrape in the middle of that shine. And again, I'm scraping in a very uneven way. And this one I want smaller. Now, that is really bright. If you like it that bright, that is awesome. You can leave it that way. If that is a little bit too bright for you, you can go back to your yellowy gold color and lightly go over that to kind of make it more of a yellow highlight. If you want it even duller than that, you could even go back over it a little bit more lightly with your red to blend it a little bit more. Or you can leave it the bright white. You just want to make sure that you have some sort of a bright shine mark there. Now let's take out our purple and outline that smile line that you made right under the stem, because it's where it dents down into the apple. You can see how dark that is down there. And then you can add the stem, and the stem you can do purple. Now you're thinking a purple stem. What are you talking about? Well, the stem is dark. You can see that it's sort of this greenish purple, so we'll put some green over this. You will also notice that it is a little thicker at the very end. It's almost got a little knob on it. So if you want to make that a little bit thicker, you can just kind of put a little roundish area there. And then take out your green. And
Go over that with your green. And that is a little bit too bright of a green for me, so I'm going to go back over that with my purple and shade that a little bit, and I get a nicer color green. Now, if you don't like that color and you want to add another color to it, you can certainly do that. I think that it's just a lot of fun to layer all these colors in there, and that makes it a little bit more of a brownish stem. So a leaf, go back to your purple. Now I could put a leaf going out this way, I could put a leaf going this way. I think I'll go this way. And a leaf is attached with a tiny little stem. And then I'll go over that with my green to make it not quite so purpley. And then you can go ahead and design a leaf. Once you have your outline, I always like to start with my lightest color first. Instead of coloring the whole leaf in, I am just going to add some splotches of yellow in different areas in a very irregular way. And then I can add my green, going right over my yellow, just layering colors over each other. Again, that makes it look very irregular. And then maybe add a little bit of the purple down to the bottom section to show a shadowy area. Now you can just leave it like this if you want to, and that's fine. If you would like to make the lines going down the middle and over to the side, you can certainly do that. That would be just a line that starts from this stem area right here and ends up at the tip. And then just these are just curving lines that curve out towards the side. And again, I'm doing this very quickly. So the quicker that you do that, usually the better that it will look. I am looking at this and feeling like this is still a little bit too bright. So I think that I will add a little bit of orange over that. Ooh, I like that. Now you might be saying, wait, orange, how do you know to put orange over that? Well, this is when the color wheel comes in handy because it can show us what colors blend nicely together and also what colors we can add to dull a color down. So we have our primary colors, yellow, blue, and red. And then when you mix those together, you get the secondary colors. Yellow and blue make green, blue and red purple, yellow and red orange. So if we are talking about our green, the yellow and blue are going to blend very nicely with the green. If you want to dull that green down or make it not so bright, you would go across the color wheel. So that would be red. You could also use an orange or a purple. So let's take a look at those. Let's add some orange here. And you can see how that definitely dulls that down. Here's some red, and you just put a light layer over it. Again, dulling it down. And here is the purple. And the purple being so dark is also going to darken it quite a bit. So you can see the difference between this bright green right here and when I added those opposite colors. You can do that with anything on the color wheel. Let's say you were to pick the purple and you wanted to make it not so bright. Go across, you find your yellow, add yellow to it, and you can see how that makes it duller or grays it down. It's not so bright. So let's get back to our leaf. You can add other colors. You could add blue to this if you wanted to. I might use a light green to see if I can blend some of these colors a little bit more. Again, it is the layering of the colors that makes this look more realistic. And let's say I want to darken up just parts of those lines that I just made so we can see them a little bit better. And that might be all I do. So my picture is done. If you want to add any more colors to blend into your apple or into your leaf, please feel free to do that. Or if you want to add another leaf, that is fine also. The reason that this looks so realistic is because we have layered lots of colors on top of each other. We have a light, a medium, and a dark. And usually when the dark is near the bottom of the object where it's more shadowy, it looks more realistic. But by having lights, mediums, and darks, we can create a sense of form. It looks more 3D. We also used the contour shading technique where we were coloring with up and down strokes that followed the curving shape of the apple. Contour shading also helps to make things look more 3D. Now, this in itself takes a little bit of practice. So if yours did not come out exactly the way that you wanted it to, experiment with this. Try another apple with the same colors. Try another apple with different colors. Maybe you want to do a green apple and you want to blend in some different yellows, different greens, blues, and purples. Try that. The more that you experiment with this method, the easier it will become and the better you will get at it. So, have fun with this. Happy coloring.